Hello everybody and welcome back to another Blind Let commentary of Made in Abyss episode 7. As per usual, there's the outro time. So yeah. We are facing down Ozen the Immovable. She has been built to be very imposing, and she certainly seems very immovable, I suppose. She's quite the character. I quite like her, actually. But let's just get on with the show proper. How ironic is it that the physically strongest human is actually a woman? That's very surprising. But the show is very gender neutral, so I suppose it's fine. Oh, that's interesting. So apparently all of the White Weasels have their own unique relic, their signature relic. That's rather interesting, I suppose. I wonder if we're going to get to see the Rico's mother's unique signature relic, because apparently some of those relics will be more useful in game raiding, so that would be really interesting to see. Intriguing. That looked really interesting. That certainly looks very, very grotesque, surprisingly enough, but it looks rather cool nonetheless.
呪いよけのカゴ。真相から邪魔くさいからこの中に突っ込んだら、なんと動き出したのさ。
What an interesting revelation. Rico was a stillborn. That's rather horrific, but this points out quite a lot. I know I'm pausing at the middle of the explanation, but this is quite the revelation. It's rather shocking, I must say. So not only are we getting more explanation towards the relics, but we are also getting some explanation, a really cool revelation about Rico. It's rather cool.
なって試しに晩飯に使う肉を入れてみたんだけどさ、それが走り回って逃げるんだ。
Oh, that explains the upper torso that we saw moving around. That is a horrific relic, I must say.
しばらくしたら動かなくなってさ。
Interesting that they don't apparently believe in God. That's an interesting little factor. Usually, when people are driven by these kinds of miraculous devices, there would be some kind of religion easily popping up, but apparently not. That's an interesting little factor.
代わりに何を信じてるのかわかる？それはこのアビスそのものさ。
But I suppose if the abyss is so enigmatic and very overwhelmingly all-encompassing, I suppose that kind of makes sense why people would start worshipping the abyss itself instead.
楽の底は未知だからこそ、恐れられるからこそ神たりえ。あれ、思ったより軽いな。頑丈さが売りなんだって。試してみようかな。
I was not expecting this to get so violent, but there's I think that the show actually now has had a high tension moment for quite a bit too long, and it's getting actually kind of exhausting now watching just this I have a minor nitpick there about the show's pacing itself. Oh well.
まずった。床をやってしまった。
リコ。
Oh wow, that's quite the serious wound. Just from a little flick of finger, she already caused such a huge wound. That is pretty terrifying.
こんなに違う。
Not so immovable now, are ya? Huh? That's I wasn't expecting there to be an actual fight scene. That's all the more surprising. That's unexpected to say the least.
助けるため最良の行動をしたね。さすが私の弟子だ。
How surprising that she is actually being pretty appreciative of Marulk. That's really interesting. So it's interesting how she's being quite lenient with her, and just in general, she's being pretty congratulatory towards her at the very least. That's all surprising.
命令に背いた罰として後で裸ずりだよ。私は子供騙しが嫌いなんだ。
Ozan is still looking very, very devilish. It's almost like her trademark look now to have such deadpan eyes.
じゃあオバードは処分す
誰も
るとか。
埋まっていなかったよ。
Oh?
本当さ。暴いて確かめないわけないだろ。ライザは待ってくれているさ。
Well, that's the most important thing, that we know that Liza is still alive. That's the most important thing that they got out of this little conversation.
せいぜいやってみることだね。
いや、かっこいい。
Is that
その傷は
Liza?
心折れようと奈落に挑み続けた不屈の証だ。動かざるオーゼン、本物の白笛だ。
Is that Ozen? She, at the very least, seems very enthusiastic and very idolizing of Ozen, so she could very easily just be... She's very, very likely to be Liza.
なあ、あんた、私の師匠にならないか？
Well, now that line there actually makes it even more clear, and means that there's quite a bit of a bigger connection there as well. So that would explain quite a bit, actually.
オーゼン、見ろオーゼン。
他の探掘隊どもに見つかる心配も助けが来る心配もない。訓練にはもってこいなのさ。
訓練。
Pretty interesting also that we are getting a training sequence in such a short show. And it's already past the halfway point, and we are now just getting a training sequence. Although, speaking of overall pacing, I think now would be a pretty good time for a training sequence. So that's okay.
最初の課題は生存訓練だ。取らないように徹底的にやるんだね。相手が誰であろうと周りに何があろう。
I wonder if Reg can actually at some point train to use the incinerator so that he doesn't fall unconscious. Because right at the very least for now, it's a very big disadvantage to use it at any point because, well, as it was obviously stated, him being knocked out cold for 2 hours will definitely get Rico killed. So yeah, that's quite a big limitation.
その時が来たら躊躇も容赦もなしだ。さもなきゃ君らの冒険が終わるのなんてあっという間さ。
Alright then it's time for the outro. So, time for the outro. Well, this time around I have perhaps something to complain about the pacing. I do think that the little just spending so much time with Ozan might not be such a good idea, because she is certainly such an imposing figure, but she is perhaps too imposing, and her presence can be quite exhausting in long bursts. So especially when she started beating Reg up, that was really quite a long sequence, and I think that was maybe perhaps a little bit too long of a sequence, even though they did really kind of rush it quickly, brushed it aside. But regardless, it wasn't too long, but it was still perhaps a bit too long. Not awfully too long, but you know, I hope you get. But on the other side, we got so many good revelations, and more importantly, we got an important revelation about Riko's past, that she was a stillborn, which is really rather surprising, I must say. And it explains why she's constantly affected by the curse of the abyss, at the very least, because she barely survived. Well, she kind of is reanimated by that huge white cube, which is very surprising that that cube has such properties. It really makes sense that some of the relics are rather powerful, I must say. So powerful that they are able to reanimate dead, which is really quite a unique effect. So yeah, that being said, they will now start with the training, which is now quite a surprising time to start training, over halfway point of the series. But I suppose it is just in time for them to start. So that being said, I thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the future. Have a great day and stay awesome. Kenmu out.